Hi, folks. We're living in an era in which many people formulate their theology through sound bites. I call it TikTok theology. A clever syllogism is stated as incontrovertible evidence that Christian theology is wanting in either intellect or in application. This is not really new. In fact, it's been done for centuries. I think of the Stoic philosopher Epicurus, who once said this: "Is God willing to prevent evil but not able? Then he is not omnipotent. Is he able but not willing? Then he is malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Then whence cometh evil? Is he neither willing or able? Then why call him God?" That's pretty seductive reasoning. What those who advance such a hypothesis don't understand is that this Epicurean syllogism doesn't stand up to its own scrutiny. If there is no God, then by what standard has one for identifying good and evil acts? For example, if you assume that something is evil, then you have to assume that there is something good as well. How do you tell the difference between the two? Well, you have to appeal to some authority for right and wrong, determining what is good and what is evil. You know, I never cease to be amazed at how many unbelievers will borrow from biblical morality in order to attack it. Who is the arbiter of good and evil? Who has that authority? Would not God be the moral lawgiver? And if not him, who? The solution to this conundrum that is posed by Epicurus and his atheist or agnostic followers through the ages is really found at the cross. At the cross, God used the ultimate of all evils to effectuate the greatest of all goods. Jesus' closest disciples could not comprehend it prior to his crucifixion. The gospel accounts make this very clear. For example, Mark writes this. He says, "And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days to rise again." And he said this plainly. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and seeing his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man." If those who walked with Jesus in his flesh had trouble comprehending his purpose, is it any wonder that so many people have trouble comprehending it today? Their questions are not new. The questions of Epicurus, agnostics, and atheists, they've been asked by some of the greatest biblical characters there are. Job asked, "Why have you made me your target?" in Job 7:20. And why do the wicked live, reach old age, and grow mighty in power? In Job 21:7. The prophet Habakkuk asked, "Why do you make me see iniquity, and why do you idly look at wrong? Why do you remain silent when the wicked swallows up the man more righteous than he?" You know, the Bible is an honest book. The biblical writers didn't ignore tough questions. Indeed, they asked him. Our questions really aren't new. Soren Kierkegaard, a philosopher, once asked the question this way: "How did I come into the world? Why was I not consulted? And if I'm compelled to take part in it, Where's the director? I want to see him. God is not obligated to provide an answer regarding why he created us, nor is he obligated to reveal how he uses evil in some grand scheme of creation and his divine plan. He revealed the ultimate usage of evil for the ultimate good, the redemption of fallen men at the cross. He revealed himself in his Son as loving and holy and true. He revealed himself as omnipotent in raising his Son from the dead on the third day. Those who don't comprehend God's working of evil into good at the cross cannot possibly have faith that God will continue to redeem evil for its good purposes even today. Even their judgment of events as good and evil is testimony to the law of God written upon their conscience. And you find that in Romans 1:20. Because they haven't a standard that they apply to determine right, wrong, good, evil, fair, unfair, wicked, and righteous. Where else do these concepts originate? Religion? No. All religions don't teach the same thing, and only the naive would posit such an answer. Besides, an atheist or agnostic claims to be irreligious. So where do they get their concept of morality? Where do they derive their understanding of right and wrong, of fairness and unfairness? It takes an arrogant man to think that he's the arbitrator of good and evil without some objective authority to which he can point. It takes a very presumptuous man to call God on the carpet, so to speak, and charge him with unfairness. Folks, I'm not privy to the mystery of divine providence and how God is using that which I see as evil to bring to pass his overall good purpose. I see only the cross as the answer. Based upon his work there, I'm confident that God has a purpose for everything that transpires. I suspect strongly that were it not for his mercy, even greater tragedies would occur on a regular basis. The greatest of all injustices occurred at the cross, where Jesus was crucified to pay the penalty for the sins of all who would but repent of their sin and turn to him in faith. Have you done so? I hope you have. Don't let syllogisms like the one I just shared from Epicurus keep you from trusting in a God who's infinitely good.